Hello, myself Sunil Nair, and here basically we are talking about the earthquakes. Basically, in earthquake, basically we basically talked about few wars. The group basically do the war. Then we talked that basically few people have lots of enemy with sports. So they literally told that basically we will do this bomb blast, this, that, each and everything. Basically, he told. Literally, basically this happens. Basically, people basically say that basically, but the effect basically happens in the. Then basically one of the person basically told that why basically you are telling like this here basically you will finish the cricket basically. Then he told that basically do you know basically one of my friend basically when was he was in Mumbai he basically got HIV/AIDS girl marriage. He was not having the HIV/AIDS. He basically forcefully done the marriage with HIV/AIDS girl, and then basically he basically was Nasbandi also. The people basically of the Mumbai basically has done Nasbandi also. Then basically he tracked the thing basically. Then he told that basically it was name of the cricket basically. Cricket के नाम की कुर्बानी थी. Literally basically the Andhavishwasi people basically. Then they basically Mumbai people told that basically we basically not do this type of thing basically. Then basically this was blamed to the Shiv Sena and Manas. They told that basically, sorry, we don't know basically. Then one of the person basically told that you are handling the Maharashtrian basically. You basically throw the basically the number plate also basically. If anybody basically write the number plate in English, then you don't know this. That basically literally he told that. He basically told this basically literally. You don't know this incident basically. Then he told that no, yeah, basically we don't know basically this incident. If basically you can track the number plate basically which is in English basically, you basically literally throw that number plate and sometime basically you fire that vehicle also basically, you can't track this basically, that some one person basically was plant in Nasbandi and HIV/AIDS basically. Then basically they groups basically told that let me track basically. One person told that basically the things basically is already done basically. Now there is no meaning of tracking everything basically. The time is already passed. Time pass is already done basically. The time pass is already done basically. And then basically he told that basically he has done lots of Hanumanji Upwas and lots of things basically has done. Then also basically the Mumbai people basically done him, given him HIV/AIDS and Nasbandi also. The Nasbandi means his generation basically was finished. And few people says that basically this was Kurbani. This all basically why basically we are discussing in earthquake basically. Then he basically told that basically each and every story basically in this world basically that is going to convert to earthquakes. Then also basically he can't understand. Basically, if the story basically generates, then basically earthquake will happen. That is not possible, yeah. Basically, how you can say this basically? How basically you can say this basically? If one story basically, for example, this Nasbandi and HIV story generated in Mumbai basically, that means we want to say that in Mumbai basically the earthquake is going to happen. Then he told that that is not possible. I think you got some wrong news basically from the set of group. Then basically NASA and ISRO basically group tell that basically earthquake basically will not basically happen. But if anything bad basically will happen, that time basically the big earthquake might happen. For example, that Nasbandi and HIV the person basically died suddenly. That means Earth planet is not going to end. NASA and ISRO basically literally told that Earth planet basically is not going to end, and universe is also not going to end. NASA group basically told, sorry, ISRO group basically told that because they have created the on the base of Tamil and Sanskrit. Basically, this entire creation basically is done. So on the name of basically Tamil and Sanskrit. Then he told the sorry, but sorry, you are telling wrong thing basically. The entire world basically and entire universe is not going to end if he will end basically. Then few people told that basically let me try basically whether that person basically is telling right or not. So literally basically they start killing that person basically. Sometimes they damage his head, sometimes they damage his eye, and damage means they kills the eye basically. Then he told that basically how basically you can do this here basically kills the eye basically night basically. Then he told that basically sometimes we kills his sound, sometimes we finish his head. when he's sleeping basically. Then basically, how basically you can do this here basically? Then he told that we want to do the verification basically. He's telling correct or not basically. Whether he's telling correct or not, that basically verification we are doing. Then one of the ISRO people be told that basically, but human basically have lots of power basically. Then he told that basically Sri Krishna Bhagwan, Sri Ram, Jesus, these all are basically Earth, planet, human basically. Then they converted into God basically. If anything happens to these all people basically, then in universe basically, this basically, for example, Sri Krishna God, where Sri Krishna God is basically. One person asked, if anything happens like this basically, then because they are also Earth, planet people, right? Then he told that basically nothing. I don't think basically anybody can do any damn basically, and they are basically God basically. Then one person told that basically, do you know basically where is Sri Krishna God basically staying in universe basically? Then he told that no, basically we don't know here basically we don't know Sri Krishna God address basically, and he basically Sri Krishna God is God basically. He can't do anything basically. He can't do anything basically. He can't do anything. It might possible that their people basically will do anything basically. There people basically might can do the head break and give the chakkar and damage the eye, damage the leg, damage that. There people basically can do. Then he told that basically if their people basically are doing that means the permission is granted. Then he told that basically that is also you are correct here basically. That is also correct. That is also correct. So then basically he told that basically let we do one thing, we finish the sports only basically. Then he told that basically, please don't do this basically. We are basically calling few people basically to India to control the Indian public basically. Then he told that basically if Indian public are not getting control, then basically one of the person this are actually is forum ongoing. Forum means basically discussion basically. How people are doing the discussion basically. So and then one public basically told that basically Gaza basically is the example basically. We will tell Indian public. So do you know basically Gaza city, Gaza country basically how it was ended? Then public told them, that means you want to say that you will finish the entire India country. Then basically that person told that basically if India country is creating problem to universe basically, then basically that is also possible basically. Entire universe basically can't give the kurbani of due to India basically, India country. Then basically one Indian basically came out from the house and basically told that basically let me basically do see basically whether I can do anything or not. How basically cricket people basically can give problem to the entire world basically who are connected with cricket, that also basically let me know basically who are those people basically who are connected with Bollywood group basically, because Bollywood and cricket basically both are connected with each other. That means basically if any Bollywood people basically if any Bollywood girl basically say that basically do damage to his head basically, then he's going the Bollywood people are going to do basically. For example, any Bollywood and Hollywood basically people who had done the marriage, then basically both basically are controlling each other basically. That means head damage basically that is possible basically. Head damage is possible basically, and that also basically government also give the permission basically. That is the main thing, because without government permission, nothing basically happens in this world basically. Then he told that basically there is some problem here. Basically. If they can't control on public basically, then basically how they have created the whole world basically. That is the question basically asked by one of the person basically. Literally, they asked the question basically. If you can't control one normal public basically, then how basically you have created the world on the name of Sanskrit and Tamil language? This was the literally question basically asked. Who created the world basically? And which all are those group basically of India basically who created the world. We want the list of entire group basically. This is actually forum ongoing with the universe group and with the Indian country basically. And in this basically in between the that World Bank person basically has came. In this forum basically that Indian basically person basically already came of that world in basically in World Bank basically in top people basically Indian people are there. Na, basically. Somebody told that basically Indian people basically are basically placed or that is also planned basically because somebody group might have tracked that basically this which we are discussing here. So he told that basically let India only handle everything basically. So this is negative or positive thinking. Means you should think negative or positive. One person literally asked, think positive or think negative. From here the basically problem started. From here the problem basically started. This basically discussion is an ongoing base of the related to the earthquake basically. Why the basically earthquake basically is happening. And yesterday also two three basically earthquake basically happened in India basically. So from which story basically that was connected basically. That basically we are discussing here. Which story was connected in that earthquake basically. That is actually discussion basically ongoing. And that is really basically by basically if anybody basically listen this basically then basically will literally say basically is this the Bollywood groups are creating problem because all story basically are written by this Bollywood group only basically. So now the discussion basically connected to Bollywood group basically. Bollywood group means singing group basically, the actors, actress basically. But they basically, if the writer basically writes that damage his head basically, literally they are going to damage his head basically. Literally they are going to damage his head basically. Like this basically, how many head has damaged here by the Bollywood group basically? That is the question basically now asked by the one of the person basically. Literally basically they asked the question basically. Then one of the person told that basically they are doing the task of the government basically. That means government is breaking the head of the each and every people basically. You want to say directly? That means they basically tells that you have done mistake here basically. So if you have done mistake, then basically you have to uh, your basically some body parts will get damaged here basically. Then one person told that basically what is mistake basically you tell chalo. What actually mistakes are basically that you tell. So in next basically this is basically the forum is ongoing. The discussion basically related to why basically earthquakes are coming and how basically earthquake is going to come. That discussion basically is ongoing and here basically we reached up to that basically each and every story basically how basically it is connected with the earthquakes basically. In next basically video we are going to see basically how basically the earthquakes basically are connected with each and every story in this world basically, each and every story basically in this world. For example, earthquake is coming, that is also connected with story. Earthquake is not coming, that is also connected with the story basically. So each and everything basically we are going to discuss in this video basically. And till now basically we discussed that how basically Bollywood groups are basically damaging each and every heads and body parts basically of the each and every public, and how many body parts they have damaged with the permission of government, with the permission of government. And in this basically the main thing is basically how basically the government gives the permission, what actually the mistakes are basically. Government says that basically he has done the mistake, that's why basically we are damaging the head. So we are going to see in this next video basically what actually mistakes are and how basically they damage the, and how basically they become god basically. That also we are going to see how basically government says that basically we are god basically, and the how government basically gives transfer their task to the Bollywood group. That also we are going to see in next video.